really is. And it's,
Yeah, so
it's like a giant 401k for the country.
that's right. Yeah. And so you have very similar kind of, you could think of it very similarly to how you would think of it when you're knocking on the door of retirement. Our retirees that we talk to all the time, or people that are close to retirement, number one question, aside from, you know, well, the number one question we'll talk about in a minute, but one of the questions they have is, how much could I expect to take from my nest egg? If I've saved all this money, how much could how much could I take? So that is something that we have conversations about that's going to be on a case by case basis, but we generally have a threshold that we take. And if you look at a country who's already doing this, Norway has a sovereign wealth fund that has been very successful, and they have a law that they can only withdraw 4% per year. And so
it's like an endowment.
It's an endowment fund. That's exactly right. That's how you would look at it. And so it takes the guesswork out of it. Now, the downside to this is that you have to have people that are willing to follow this for all eternity for this to work. Because the minute somebody comes in and says, we're going to do an 8 or 10% withdrawal on this, then you've flipped the formula at that point. The other thing,
but even if that happens, at least it's coming out of equity and not debt.
That's true. There's
an accountability to that.
That's true. That's a pro, but I'm talking about in terms of the longevity of it. You have to have, just like with anybody that's going into a retirement account or that's starting income from their retirement portfolios, you have to have an amount that you can kind of sit with and that you can kind of, get used to. And you don't want to do a whole bunch of changing around. And if that's maybe a higher, there are times where we do maybe a higher distribution rate on a client who's not going to take for very long from it. And that's fine because the portfolio has time to recover. But if you're going to use it for things like this, or for infrastructure or whatever you want to spend it on, obviously it's better to have the sovereign wealth fund.